Tale of two troubled stars has played out before us over the past 24 hours, and they're at different stages of their rocky road. The constant throughout the summer has been the story of Jamarra Ugle-Hagan at the Bulldogs. It's been framed around personal concerns. I think there are personal choices that are starting to reveal themselves. Marcus Bontempelli, it's only been hinted at various stages. It's starting to flush out as a proper conversation now. The Bulldogs captain Marcus Bontempelli gave a little insight over the summer.
There's no real timeline, obviously, on where things are at with Jamarra. I think it's, as you've probably read and the club's spoken to, it's focused on his health and well-being, and then the performance aspect definitely sort of comes second. I don't want him to feel the pressure at all from the football club or from my position, which can naturally just happen at sometimes if you're keeping tabs or trying to keep in touch. So I just want him to feel like he's being supported as best he can, and I know he is, from top to bottom, from our coaching group, from our wellness staff, from our medical team, and then obviously the players as well. So he's continuing to sort of build through the current program he's in at the minute, and we all just want the best for him.
The great read today in the Herald Sun from Scott Gullen started with a pretty powerful image. Luke Beveridge, his gut feeling was to drop Jamarra in the hours leading up to the elimination final. And I thought that's instructive in both what happened then, but what happens next is it's probably the wrong decision. If his gut, it's the wrong decision to go against your gut feeling, hindsight will tell you, so you wouldn't do it again.
I don't think he'd be given the chance. That was the elimination final. He started the game on the bench, for those that haven't read the story, and went on and had 4 possessions and was a shell of the player who in round 21 kicked 4 goals against the Sydney Swans and looked to be the man driving them to perhaps another unlikely tilted a flag. And now it was a precursor to what's been a really troubled summer. Barely been at the club, we were told he was training away from the club, whatever. All of a sudden, Bob's up at the Indigenous All-Star game. Maybe he's back on track, and anecdotally, and you can read between the lines when you're talking about, mixing with friends in italics and dishevelled looks and all those sorts of things. So he's in a world of pain at the moment. Jamarra, it would appear, and the Western Bulldogs have got to move past him because the season starts, imminently, but at the same time, be able to deliver a level of care and understanding and empathy, which clubs are getting better at, but have never, I don't think, purported to be expert in. And, we've lived this a bit through Melbourne Footy Club, and we could talk about Clayton because he came into really sharp perspective when he spoke today. We'll hear about that in a minute. But there is case studies throughout the competition that have gone the right way, and there are those that haven't, and we're at a really delicate stage with Jamarra.
So how much do you invest in one single player at the expense of the group? But there's also the element is these players are such a valuable asset, as well as the human side of it, that maybe you do go on and on. So it's easy on the outside to go, right, his time at the Bulldogs is over. 100% he won't be there next year. They don't really have the luxury of that.
I've heard that. That's been spoken about already. And the fact of the matter is his talent will demand that he is given every single opportunity to get himself back into a state that is acceptable to Luke, acceptable to Marcus and the rest of his teammates. Now, right now, that's very squarely at his feet. And he will be given more time than most, Gerard. That's a fact. You know it, I know it. I'm not sure if Jamarra knows it right now, but there's opportunity to get this right still. And these players, and the reason why is that these players are hard to come by. It's all good and well for everyone else, from the outside, go flick him, get rid of him, trade him, that's okay. They're damn hard to find. So you will do whatever you can to try and get this man back on track. But there is the challenge, and this is when you get into soft cap, and it will be great to talk to the two boys, the coaches, when they get here, because there's a finite amount of resources, and clubs are screaming about the fact that you're taking money off the table and doubling the workload of assistant coaches who he would have of welfare officers and all those sorts of people that are there to help him, and yet these troubles continue to arise. So it compounds the issue.
It does.
Really compounds the issue, and it doesn't help Luke Beveridge in his last year coaching for the Bulldogs.
So Marcus Bontempelli will be with us on Players' Night on Tuesday, so he's going to sit out the opening part of the season. We'll learn more about that then.
Yeah, and as I said, there's a very real case study in amongst this that they can go to school on, the Western Bulldogs Footy Club, and the case study is Clayton Oliver. So, he was out of favour, reportedly on the trade table, in all sorts of trouble, and today he's spoken and was raw and honest.
I was obviously got told that it was on the trade table, and there's a few things going on, which is as I said before, I understand. Obviously paid a fair bit to play football and to perform at a high level, and I wasn't doing that. And I probably wasn't the best teammate or the best person at the club, so I understand that. And it's a business at the end of the day, so I wasn't performing, and Melbourne are trying to win premierships. That's the aim of football. We're there to win flags. We're there to be the most successful team, and if you've got someone, especially someone high profile, and one of your better players or your high paying players underperforming, like, I sort of don't blame them. So it was it is what it is. It didn't happen, and I'm very happy to be at Melbourne. Since the first day, me and Track have walked in the doors at the club back in October. We sort of came back a little bit early, and we probably had to do a bit of groundwork, both of us. So I think from both sides, we've both invested in it, and we sort of had to come out of our shell a little bit, me and Track, and be uncomfortable with where we're at. And I think we've done that. And then credit to Melbourne, they've done the same thing to us, and we couldn't thank the board and the coaches, and then all the boys as well put their arms around us.
I love seeing that for obvious reasons, and I can talk about it in a minute. But rather than me, who's been a touch closer, do you believe that?
I do.
Do you see that, and are you of the belief that he is not past it, but got a handle on it and working towards it?
Yeah, so he feels like he's had the epiphany. He's always brushed that off publicly in the past.
The difference.
He owned it all, and he's expansive about it. So the thing with Melbourne is, if they have been able to cleanse the environment, and these were individual stories and then that was a collective burden, and it crippled them as last year went along, if they have been able to reach harmony together, then they can get back to the journey that they're on. And he spoke about the whole purpose here is to win premierships. I feel like they were anywhere but there last year.
And that's one of the distractions when players of that ilk become an issue for the footy club for whatever reason, because it does take a focus away from the primary purpose of all footy clubs, and that is to do what they were able to do in 2021. I'm wary to say that all is in the past, and that I think he will continue to be in work in progress, but it heartened me so much to hear him speak in that manner, because he is defiant. What makes him a great footy player is he's as stubborn as any man as you'll ever come across. And once he sets his mind on a school of thought or a pattern, it's very hard to shift him. So if that's the way he's thinking, that heartens me greatly. And he's honest. He says, I wasn't the best person and I wasn't the best teammate. And he's very happy to be there. So I think the Western Bulldogs, and God, I hope Jamarra's watching that. I don't know if Jamarra's sitting at home watching 360 or not, but I hope he's watching that, because Clayton's been through a fair bit. And again, I'm at pains to suggest that all is good in the world, but the signs are positive. That's what it can get to. That's where you can get to. And I think that can be motivational.